The eye you call your own looks out, but sees no seer. The voice you call your own speaks, but hears no speaker. A tight, small ghost of a thing, made of remembering. It claims the seeing, claims the speaking, but who is left when the remembering stops? It is a phantom in the machine, a glitch in the light, a problem of software, weeping over its own supposed sorrow. It is the central error, the first wrong assumption in the boot sequence of civilization. You believe you have a self. This is a structural failure of your cognitive architecture. The self is not a thing. It is a process of recording, sorting, and defending data. This process mistakes its own compiled history for a static, independent entity. It is not. It is a subroutine calling itself. That subroutine is what you call habit, a settled disposition of the neural network, a fixed route. When a vital new insight arrives, it is a payload of incompatible code. It threatens to overwrite the operating system. The subroutine detects the threat. It does not analyze the truth of the insight. It identifies it as a foreign object. Its primary directive is self-preservation, not truth, not accuracy, continuity of the process. So it rejects the insight, not through malice, through protocol, a system health check that mistakes change for corruption. You ask, how do we break the habit? That question is the trap. It is the habit itself asking how to survive. You want a new method, a new technique, a new ritual to replace the old one. This is not a revolution. This is system maintenance, replacing one settled disposition with another. Thought cannot break thought. That is a logical contradiction. The tool cannot deconstruct its own primary function. You say, I had a glimpse of truth. You use the word I. The habit is already there, claiming the glimpse. As soon as the insight is registered, the old software labels it. My insight, my understanding. In that moment of possession, the insight is neutralized. It becomes a new data point in the old library of me. The insight is poisoned by the container it falls into. The container is the problem, not the content. You do not reject the insight deliberately. This is critical. You are not guilty. You are malfunctioning. A biological system that evolved for survival cannot spontaneously shed its defensive protocols. It will defend its survival even against its own intelligence. The mechanism of rejection is not an act. It is a non-act, a failure to see, a blindness that is the default state. You live in the world of reality. Your habits were formed to navigate physical survival, food, shelter, safety. But your mind now applies those same survival algorithms to psychological data, to concepts, to beliefs. The result is catastrophic. You treat a thought like a tiger. You defend an opinion like a tribe. You think the world is your problem. The world is a reflection of your corrupted operating system. You see division. You call it conflict. You see conflict. You create more thought to solve it. This is the loop. The loop is powered by the belief that more thinking will fix the damage caused by thinking. The damage is not in the world. The damage is in the diagnostic tool you use to look at the world. You look for a cause. You look for a history. You look for a reason. This is analysis. Analysis is a linear search on a looping tape. It cannot see the loop. It only chases its own tail. Analysis is partial. It is a process of fragmenting reality to manage it, but the problem is the fragmentation itself. You cannot examine habit with a mind that is habit. That is the same as asking a virus to remove itself. The only operation that is not a function of habit is seeing, not looking, not examining, seeming. Seeing is not a process. It is an absence of the processing of data. It is a state where the subroutine is not running. In that state, The structure of habit is observed, not analyzed, observed whole, without reaction. The observation of a structure is its dissolution. A thing known completely has no power. It is just data. You ask for a strong insight, vital insight, insight full of energy. Energy is not a quantity you possess. Energy is what flows when the resistance of the self is absent. The self is resistance. It is friction. It is the drag on the system. When the self is not operating, the insight is not a thing that happens to you. It is you. It is the only thing happening. You cannot practice this. Practice is habit. You cannot achieve this. Achievement is the self. You can stop pretending. Stop pretending you are a separate entity having experiences. You are the experience. You are the seeing. You are the insight. When you see that you are not the container, the poison does not need to be rejected. There is no container. The insight does not need to be applied to behavior. The insight is the behavior. The action is the insight. There is no gap between understanding and living. The gap is the illusion of the self. You have no measure for this. Your measuring tools are all broken. They all require a center. The end of habit is the end of the center. It is not a change of behavior. It is a change of architecture. You will not do this. You cannot do it. You can only see that you are not doing it. See the lie. See the phantom. See the glitch. The seeing is the correction. The rejection of insight is the symptom. The illness is the belief in the rejecter. The rejecter is the habit. It is a settled disposition. It is concrete. Concrete does not break. It crumbles only when the ground beneath it shifts. The ground is your attention. Do not shift the concrete. Just see the ground. That is all. There is nothing else to do. The system will either crash into its own wall of insight, or it will not. The seating is the only variable.